Q. In English Scrabble it's worth 10 points. This is because it's difficult to put down on the board. Steve Donoghue said this wouldn't be an easy tag. Not many words in English begin with a Q. I used to play Scrabble with my grandma a lot. If she picked up a U, she'd keep it in her rack just in case she picked up the Q, because she didn't know any words with a Q that didn't have a U. But now we have other words like ki. Ki is the energy inside us which animates our body. This is a concept from Eastern medicine, and it's used in the practice of acupuncture, acupressure. We also have cat. Cat is a leaf that's chewed as a stimulant in countries like Ethiopia and Saudi Arabia. In French Scrabble, Q is more common, so Q is only worth 8 points. There are lots of question words in French Scrabble, in the French language, with Q, qui, quel, quoi, and also words like cinq, where we're using Q, we don't need the U. I'm not a quitter, so I'm going to have a go at the Q tag. Hello, my name is Jim. Welcome to my booktube channel about books and reading and stuff. In this video I want to look at the Q tag. As I said with the Scrabble set, Q is not an easy letter for looking for words. Here we have a quail, a queen quail, sewing a quilt. But these are not great words for book prompts. Q is for quick. What was a quick read for you? For me, it will be this, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. I read it last month. I read it in about 2 sittings. It's 230 pages, so this is a quick read. Q is for question. Do you have a question for me? Leave it in the comments below. I answer all my comments. Question words: who, what, why, when, where, how. What's your favourite question word? I have 2 favourites. I like where, because I'm a geography nerd. I like to know where things are from, where you are from, where different cars are from, where different films are from. I like the question where, and I also like the question why. I like to know the reasons, like a 2-year-old. Why do people do this? Why? Why are there wars? Q is for quantity and quality. Would you prefer to read 10 books in a month that were okay, or 1 book that was really good? For me, I'll go for quality over quantity any day. Reading is not a competitive sport, even though Goodreads targets and other things seem to make it such. There are some very prodigious readers on booktube, like Steve Donoghue, Mara from books like Whoa. I will never read in a year what they managed to get through in a month, but as long as I read quality books, I'm not too bothered. Q is for queer. Queer is a lot easier to say than LGBTQIA+. Do you have a favourite queer author? I don't know the sexuality of many of the authors I read. I do know Sarah Waters is a lesbian, and she's one of my favourite writers. Fingersmith is one of my favourite books. Fingersmith is the story of 2 orphans, Sue Trinder and Maud Lilly, whose stories intertwine throughout the book. It's set in Victorian England. It's like a female take on Oliver Twist, but with a more gripping story and more interesting twists. Sarah Waters pays great attention to the historical detail, and it's a long book. It's about 580 pages, but it doesn't feel like a long book. It's very gripping, the pace is very good. I'd thoroughly recommend Fingersmith. Another queer author I like is Patricia Highsmith. Q is for quiet. Do you need quiet to read?
ადუღდა ჩაიდანი, მოდი წაიღე წყალი. წყალი მომიტანე. ბაჩემა. ელენე, ჩუმად იყავი მეთქი არ გითხარი კაცო? ბაჩემა.
Q is for Quran, the holy book of the Muslim people. Have you read it? Again, this is not a question for Steve Donoghue, because I'm sure he's read it. He's probably even read it in Arabic. Knowing Steve. I haven't read the Quran. I did read the Bible over a period of 3 years, and I found it quite contradictory in parts and very repetitive in parts. Q is for quack. Why does Pei have so many ducks in his video? If you don't know Pei from Attention, you should. I'll link to his channel here. It's one of the most innovative booktube channels I've seen. He's very erudite, he knows a lot about Kafka and Dostoevsky and Camus, and he's very entertaining, and he uses some very special editing effects in his videos. Check him out. I'm looking to the globe for geographical prompts for Q. There aren't a lot, and I don't know if I've read any books connected with them. There's Queensland in northeastern Australia. When I visited Australia, my favourite place was Kuranda, which is in the tropical rainforest. You can take a scenic train from Cairns to Kuranda. Kuranda is just beautiful, and there's lots of fruit just growing wild there, like avocados, oranges, pawpaws, mangoes. Of Qatar. Qatar is where the next World Cup's being held. Quito, capital of Ecuador. Quebec. I've read a few books set in Quebec by Bernard Clavel. He wrote Amarok, amongst others. These were books like Jack London's White Fang and Call of the Wild, set in northern Quebec. I don't know if they've been translated into English. I read them in French. And in Georgia we have Qobuleti. Qobuleti is a resort on the Black Sea. I made a video about Qobuleti a few years ago. Qobuleti begins with a Georgian letter K, which can be transliterated as either a Q or a K. So, there's not a lot beginning with Q. Q is for Quaker. Are there any books you've read with a Quaker protagonist in them, or a Quaker character? The last book I read, Cry of the Innocent by Julie Bates, has the main protagonist, Faith Clark, is a Quaker, and this means she's a pacifist, so she doesn't have any weapons in her house, and she also has this internal conflict because she's a widow and she has 2 slaves she inherited from her husband, who wasn't a Quaker, and she would like to free them, but she doesn't have the means to free them. And even if she does free them, because this is Williamsburg in 1774, doesn't mean that they'll be safe, because some of the characters in the novel are intent on recapturing freed slaves and shipping them off to other slave states and making them slaves again. Q is for quotes. Do you have any good quotes about reading? A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies, said Jojen. The man who never reads, only one. This was from George R.R. Martin's A Dance with Dragons. I find television very educating. Every time someone turns on the set, I go into the other room to read a book. It was Groucho Marx. Books are a uniquely portable magic. Stephen King. You don't have to burn books to destroy a culture, just get people to stop reading them. Ray Bradbury, who wrote Fahrenheit 451. Q is for quill, the archaic writing instrument. Are you a writer? Have you had any writings published, either a novel, a short story, or a book of some kind? I haven't. A quiz question for you. Q is for quilp. Which Dickens novel does quilp feature in? Who do I tag? The only Q I can think of is cozy reading with Quaker cats, so I'll tag Summer. So that was the Q tag. If you like this video, you can like and subscribe below, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.